Good afternoon, class. Today, we are going to do sections 2.2, 2.3, and 2.4. Okay? All right, very good. Section 2.2 is dealing with Section 2.2 is dealing with graphing linear equations. Okay? Question is, what is a linear equation? All right, so here is a linear equation. Linear equation. Y equals 2x plus 3. This is a linear. Equation. It's a linear equation because when you graph it, you're going to get a line. The word linear means line. Okay? And so therefore, to graph this linear equation, we have to find points that satisfy the equation. So we're going to find points. There's different ways. Let's make a table. That's one way. Making a table. So here is the x variable, and here is the y variable. And you have to understand that in this case, for this linear equation, solutions come in order pairs. They come in pairs. A value for x is going to be paired with a value for y. Or a value for y is going to be paired with a value for x. They always come in pairs. For example, watch this. Here's an easy one. Here's a very easy one. Let x be 0. Let x be 0. Plug in 0 to find the value of y that goes with x equals 0. Plug it in. So for x equals 0, note, y equals 2 times 0, x is 0, plus 3. 2 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 3 is 3, so y equals 3. So when x is 0, y is 3. And now this is a solution to the linear equation. We're going to graph this solution right now. So here is the x variable. That's an axis for the x variable. And here is the axis for the y variable. Okay? And we're going to find this point, 0, 3. Note that x equals 0, y equals 3. You always start at the origin. This is the origin right here. The origin. X is 0, the x-axis, this is the horizontal axis. So therefore, this says that in the x-axis, you move 0 values on the x-axis. In other words, you don't move on the x-axis, starting from the origin. So you do not move on the x-axis. So this is move horizontally, and this is move vertically. So you do not move on the x-axis, you do not move horizontally, but you do move up 3 units. So we start from the origin. Do not move horizontally, but move up. 1, 2, and 3, and this is the first. This is the first order pair that satisfies this solution, and this order pair is right there. By the way, if you notice, this order pair is on the y-axis. Look, on the y-axis. So we call this is the y-intercept. This is the y-intercept because it's on the y-axis. Let's find another one. Now, let y be 0. Let y be 0. I'm going to find the x value that goes with y equals 0. You can erase this now. And now you can say y equals 0, right? To plug in 0 for y. So 0 equals 2x plus 3. I plugged in 0 for y. I'm going to solve for x. To solve for x, I need to subtract 3 and then divide it by 2. So let's subtract 3. Subtract, or just bring it over. So negative 3 equals 2x. And now divide it by 2. Divide this by 2. Divide this by 2. The 2's cancel. And so now x equals negative 3 over 2. I'm going to write it like this. X equals negative 3 over 2. Now 2 goes into 3 one time. And 1 is left over. So therefore, this equals to, x is equal to negative 1.5. Note, 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3. So this is 3 over 2. But when we write it on the table, we write it like this. Negative 3 over 2. Okay. That's another point that satisfies this equation. This point satisfies this equation. And we can graph it. Sure we can. Okay? Now don't forget, we call this the y-intercept because this is the point where the line crosses the y-axis. You let x equal 0. This is going to be the x-intercept because this is going to be the point where the line crosses the x-axis. Watch this. So you start at the origin. Okay, you start at the origin, and then it says here, you move from the origin, you move 1.5 horizontally to the left. And you do not move up or down. You move to the left 1.5 units. You do not move up and down. Okay? So you start at the origin. Here is 1. Here is 2. So from the origin, you move 1.5. Okay? So therefore, this is the point. This right here is the point negative 3 over 2 comma 0. And this is the point 0 comma 3. Let's find more points. Now, I don't know, let x be 1. Okay, if x is 1, erase this. If x is 1, note that you can let x be a number and then you get y, or you let y be a number and then you get x. Let x be 1. Okay, plug it in. So this is y equals 2 times 1 plus 3. And what's 2 times 1? 2 plus 3, 5. So y is 5. Find this point. Note, You move 1 to the right because it's positive. You move up, you move 5 up because it's positive. Here you move 1.5 to the left horizontally. But here you move 1 horizontally to the right. Okay? So go to the origin. Here's the origin. And according to this point, I'm gonna move 1 to the right, and then how many up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. Right there. Look, we're getting a line. Okay, you can do it again. By the way, this here is the X-intercept. Okay, how do you find the X-intercept? Let y be 0, look. And then you find x. How do you find the X-intercept? You let y be 0. I don't know if I said it wrong, but this is the way you say it. How do you find the X-intercept? You let y be 0. And then solve for x. How do you find the y-intercept? You let x be 0, and then you solve for y. Okay. And so now we have these 3 points. We can do it again. Listen, guys, we can do this forever and ever. Okay, we're gonna get old, all right, and we're gonna die, and we'll never stop finding points that satisfy this equation because this line goes on forever and ever. So there are billions and trillions of points that satisfy this equation. Many of them. Infinitely many. Okay. What should I do? Let x be 2. Let x be 2. Okay, plug it in. Plug it in right there. So y equals 2 and x is 2 plus 3. And what's 2 times 2? 4. And what's 4 plus 3? 7. So this is 7. You see? And so we find 2, 7 on the xy plane. You move 2 to the right, 7 up. Okay, we can do that. Start from the origin. 1, 2 to the right, and then this is 5, 6, and 7. 7 up. We're getting a line. Okay, we are getting a line. Let's do the last one. This is the last one now. Okay. Note that because it is a line, all you need was 2 points. Because you connect 2 points with a ruler and you get the line, okay? And it's gonna be the same line as this one. All you need are 2 points. To graph a line, all you need are 2 points. I'm finding more just to show you that, just to show you as a talking point for the concept of linear equations. Let's find more. Why don't we let y be a number? Why don't we let y be, let's say -1. Let y be -1. -1. Okay, plug it in. Let y be -1. Let's find x. When y is -1. You see this here? That's -1. Okay. Y is -1 equals 2x plus 3. Solve for x. Subtract 3. Bring it over. So what's -1 minus 3? -4 equals 2x. What's the next step? Divide both sides by 2. Divide this by 2. And we get x. Divide this by 2, and we get -2. So we can write it like this, x equals -2. Okay, so when y is 1, x equals -2. Okay, all right, go to the origin. When x is -2, look right there. X is -1, -2. Y is -1. So you move 2 to the left, 1 down. So 1, 2 to the left, 1 down, and here we go. We have another point. And we're getting a line. Okay? So now we take a ruler and we graph the line. And there we go. And that's why they call this linear equation, because we got a line. This is the way we graph lines, okay? This is the way we graph lines. Note, it is convenient to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Here's the x-intercept. Look, it is the point where the line crosses, I'm sorry, this is the y-intercept. Here's the y-intercept. It is the point where the line crosses the y-axis. And here is the x-intercept. This is the point which is right there. Right there. That's the x-intercept. So this is the point where the line crosses the x-axis. How do you find this point? How do you find the x-intercept? You let y be 0. How do you find the y-intercept? You let x be 0. And we have it. Okay? Beautiful. Let's do another one. Okay. Let's graph it. Let's graph another one. Graphing linear equations. Gotta get rid of this. Okay? Gotta get rid of it. Have no choice. So another linear equation. We're gonna have to make another. By the way, this linear equation, the one we just did, this one, what was it? It goes on forever and ever. Y equals 2x plus 3. This linear equation is increasing. Increasing. You always look in that direction to find out if it is increasing or decreasing. Okay? So if you're looking at this, you always look to the right. And if you look at this graph from the right, you notice that it's increasing. Actually, let me say that again. You always look towards positive infinity. That's the best way to say it. You always look toward, this is positive infinity, and negative infinity is this way. This is negative infinity. And this is positive infinity. It goes on forever and ever. You always look towards positive infinity to determine if the line is increasing or decreasing. So I always look that way. I concentrate on the line, and I notice that this line is increasing because it goes up. Let's do another one. Here's another one. Okay, this one is 3x plus 5y equals to let's say 10. gonna graph it. This is a linear equation. By the way, how do you know if you have a linear equation? Well, the power of x is 1 and the power of y is also 1. If the power of those two variables changes to 2 or 3, it's no longer linear. Okay? All right, very good. Okay, so let's make a table. X and y. Okay. Let's find the x-intercept. How do you find the x-intercept? Let y be 0. Let's also find the y-intercept. How do you find the y-intercept? Let x be 0. Okay. Let's do the first one. How do you find the x-intercept? Let y be 0. So plug in y there. By the way, let me change this to 15. It's easier. I'm going to change this to 15, okay? Change it to 15. Make it easier for you guys. There you go. Okay. All right. Same thing. The x-intercept, let y be 0. I'm going to plug in 0 for y. Watch this. 3x plus 5 times 0 equals to 15. What's 5 times 0? 0. So here, 3x equals to 15. Divide both sides by 3. So x equals to 5. So when y is 0, x is 5. Right there. That's going to be the x-intercept. Let's do this one. Let x be 0. Plug in 0 for x. So 3 times 0 plus 5y equals to 15. What's 3 times 0? 0. 5 times y is 5y equals 15. So this is 5y equals 15. What's next? Divide both sides by 5. Divide this by 5, you get y. Divide this by 5, divide this by 5. What's 15 divided by 5? 3. So when x is 0, y is 3. Okay. I have enough to graph the line now. I can find another point. Let's find another point. Sure, why not? Okay. All right, no problem. Why don't we let y be, doesn't really matter, guys. Let y, it doesn't really matter. Let y be 1. Y is 1. Plug it in. 3x. What's 5 times 1? 5 equals 15. Subtract 5 from both sides. What's 15 minus 5? 10. So 3x equals 10. Divide both sides by 3. So x equals to 10/3. Let's express this as a mixed number just to find out, just to understand where it is, just for graphing purposes, basically. So 3 goes into 10 how many times? 3, and what's left over? 1 over 3. That's x. But when you write it here, when you write it on the table, let's just write this number. 10/3. There you go. Okay. And so now, good class, we have 3 points. We know 10/3 is 3 1/3, look. Okay, this is gonna be the x-intercept. if you start, I'm gonna do this one in the dark color. Okay, I'm gonna graph this line in the dark color. Okay, look. To graph this point, go to the origin, 5 to the right, do not move up or down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yep. That's the X-intercept. Here's another one. That's the Y-intercept. It's going to be on the Y-axis. Do not move left or right. Move up 3. From the origin, move up 3. Right there. How about this one? This is 3 1/3. So move 3 1/3 to the right because it's positive, starting from the origin. And then move up 1 unit. 3 1/3 from the origin. 1, 2, 3. This is 1/3, 2/3, and then 4. So 3 1/3, and then move up 1 unit. You see the 3 points? They line up. All we have to do now is graph. Okay. We can graph it now. Yay. Okay. There we go. And I'm going to graph this line. Yep. And we're going to say that this line goes up infinitely and down infinitely. If I look at this line if I look towards the positive infinity and I look at this line, I say that line is decreasing. Decreasing. So the red line is increasing and the dark line is decreasing. Yep. Okay. All right. So here's the dark line. The dark line is 3x plus 5y equals to 15. And the red line is, let me write it in red because it is the red line. What was it? Y equals 2x plus 3. Okay. The red line is increasing, the dark line is decreasing. Note, look at this. Here for this one, y is by itself. So this equation, this equation is being given in terms of y equals 2x plus 3, whereas this equation, look, y is not by itself. Okay? So we call this the standard form. When x is not by itself and y is not by itself and they both are on the same side, this is the standard form. They call this the standard form. Okay. And what do they call this one? They call this the slope-intercept form. This equation has been given in standard. Form. What about this one? This equation has been given in slope intercept form. All right. Now, the reason why they call this the slope intercept form is because when you look at it, you can see the slope and you can also see the y-intercept for this equation. All right. So therefore, the slope-intercept form. Okay. Now, what is the slope? The slope is going to be the inclination of the line. The slope. Okay. The slope sometimes is going to be positive, and the slope sometimes is going to be negative. Okay, the slope is really the rise over the run. Okay, once again, the slope is the rise over the run. And every line, well, I shouldn't say every line, but most of the lines have a slope. There is one type of lines that do not have a slope. Okay. So what is the slope? The slope is the steepness. I am moving into section 2.3. The slope is the steepness of the line. And how do we measure the slope? The slope we measure by the rise over the run, okay? To measure the slope, you need 2 points. Once again, to measure the slope, you need 2 points. And once you have 2 points, you can do the rise over the run from either point. Watch this. Pay close attention now. Look at the red one. Look at the red line. The red line is y equals 2x plus 3. This here is the slope. This is the letter we use for the slope. This is the slope. The slope is 2. Whatever is being multiplied by the variable x, the slope is 2. This is the slope. And this is the y, they call this the y-intercept, b. We call this b. b equals 3. So therefore, this equation is written in this form. Y equals to mx plus b. We call this the slope-intercept form. Okay. Now don't forget what I just said. The slope is the steepness of a line. The slope is found by the rise over the run. You rise from one point to another point. You need 2 points. Okay. To find the slope, you need 2 points. So don't forget what I said. This point and this point. You need 2 points, okay? So let's just look at any 2 points on the red line. Now don't forget, you see this point? You see this point? This point is 1, comma, 5 for the red line. You see this point? This point is 2, comma, 7. Okay? How is the slope found? The slope is the rise over the run. Listen, on the red line, by the way, what is this point? This point here is -2, comma, -1. Okay? This point here is -3/2, comma, 0. So watch this. You pick any 2 points, you rise, and you run from one point to the next. On the red line, you're always gonna get 2. Watch this. Which point do you wanna pick? Do you wanna pick this one and that one? You wanna pick those 2 points? Do you? Okay, watch this. If you want to pick this point and that point, let's rise and let's run. And what's the rise? What is the rise? That's 1 unit. And what's the run? What's the run? What's the length from here to there? That's half a unit. Who knows how to divide by a fraction? You multiply by the reciprocal. So here, you take this 1 and you flip this 1 over. 2 over 1. And what's 1 times 2 over 1? 2. Same as before. You see? Guys, the slope is the rise over the run from any 2 points. Let's do it again. Okay, I'm gonna erase this because I need the room. So I went from this one to that one, and I got 2. Do it again. Slope. Rise over run. Okay, where do you want to go? You want to go from this one to that one? Sure. Let's go up, rise. What's the rise, everybody? What is the rise? 1, 2, 3. Okay. What is the rise? 1. That's the distance, that's this height, that's 3. And what's the run? Who can tell me the run? From here to there, what's the length there? 3.5. Yeah. The rise is 3, the run is 3.5. This length is 3.5. Look, from here to there is 3.5. The length, okay? The length. Who knows how to divide? Take this 3 and multiply by the reciprocal. What's the reciprocal? 2/3. This is 3 over 1. The 3's cancel. And what do you get? 2 again. Guys, you pick any 2 point, the rise of the run, you always get 2. That's this value. Okay, you want to pick 2 different points? Sure. Let's pick 2 different points. You're going to get 2. If you do it right, you're gonna get 2. Which point do you wanna pick? Okay? They have to be, the point needs to be on the red line, okay? Any 2 points. Which one? Which one? You tell me. Okay? You want to go from this point to this point? You want to do that? Sure. This point goes up like this. And what's the rise? You tell me the rise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Going from this point to that point. And what is the run? You tell me the run. The run is from here all the way up to there. Well, what's from here to there? That's 1.5. From here to this value, from here to there, that's 1.5. And what's from here to there? That's 2. So what's 1.5? What's the run from here to there? 1.5 plus 2. What's 1.5 plus 2? 3.5. 3.5. 3.5 is 7 halves. If you don't believe me, divide the 2, 8 to the 7, you get 3. And what's left over? 1. So this is 3.5. Flip it over. If you flip it over, this is a 7 times 2 over 7. The 7 cancel. What do you get again? You get 2. You see? Rise over the run. For this red line is always 2. Okay, but wait a minute. What if you do not have the graph? You just have the points. Okay, let me show you a formula how to find the slope. Remember, the slope is the rise over the run, okay? So to find the slope, if you do not have, notice here how here we rose and then we ran because we have the line. What if you do not have the line? No problem. Look. The slope is also found by this formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This formula is going to give you the rise and the run. Okay? All right. All right. Remember, if you're going to use this formula, you need the points. Say, for example, you go from here to there, okay? We know how to do it if we have the graph. What if you don't have the graph? What if you just have the points? Okay, here's the point. This one point is right there, and this point is there. If we use the formula, we're going to get 2 again. What points do we have? From here to there, from this point to that point. Let me give the points. Here are the points. -2, -1, and -3/2, 0. Okay, I'm gonna use the formula and we're gonna get the same slope. The formula says the y-coordinate of the second point minus y-coordinate of the first point. So therefore, we better make one of them the second point, the other one the first point. It does not matter which one you make the second point or the first point. So I'm going to make this the first point. Okay? This is the first point, and this is the second point. This is the first, and this is the second point. point. This is the y-coordinate of the first, and that's the y-coordinate of the second. According to the formula, the y-coordinate of the second is 0. 0 minus the y-coordinate of the first, -1. Over the x-coordinate of the second, here's the second, that's the x-coordinate right there, -3/2, minus the x-coordinate of the first right there, minus -2. I'm trying to find the slope with 2 given points. I don't have to have the graph. I can just have the points. I use this formula and I'm still gonna get 2. Promise you. Okay. All right. Let me simplify below. So the slope is gonna be, what's a minus is a minus? That's a plus. That's a -3/2. And what's a minus is a minus. That's a plus. So this is like 2 minus 1.5. Because remember, this is 1.5. What is 2 minus 1.5? That's a half. So this is 1/2. You flip 1 times 2/1, which is 2 again. Okay. The slope is 2, look. All right. All right. You want to do it again? Sure. Let's do it again. Let's find 2 different points. Okay, on the red line. We're going to use the formula and find 2 different points. Okay, watch this. Which points do you want to use? Do you want to use this point and that point? If you have the graph, you can just rise and run. Okay? Rise from this point to that point. -2, -1, and then to this point, 2 and 7. Okay? If you have the graph, you don't have to go through the formula. You can just rise and run. Rise. How many are you going to rise? Let me see. How many are you going to rise? How many are you going to rise? How many are you going to rise? Or how much are you going to rise? I see from here to there is 7. And that's 1 more, so the rise is 8. The rise is 8. And what's the run? The run is from here, from there all the way up to this point. That's the run. I know that from here to there is 2. And that's another 2. So this is 4. The run is 4. And you get 2. But that's if you have the graph. If you don't have the graph, no problem. Say you do not have this graph. Okay, but you do have the points. These 2 points. No problem. Plug them in to the formula. You better label them. So which one do you want to call the first? It doesn't matter. Earlier I called this one the first. I'm going to call this one the second now. Second, first. The formula says the y-coordinate of the second, this is the y-coordinate of the second, -1. Minus, according to the formula, the y-coordinate of the first, that's the first, 7. It's +7. Over the x coordinate of the second. Here's the x coordinate of the second, -2. And then the formula says minus. And then just plug in the x coordinate of the first. That's it right there, 2. So this is, what is this? -8 over what? -4. And what do you get? 2 again. Okay? This formula works. This formula works, everybody. Okay? The formula works. Now, what do we find? Why don't we find? Okay, so we're done with this, right? So the formula is working. Okay, no problem. So we found the slope to the red line in 2 different ways. Because we have the graph, we rose and then we ran from one point to another, and we were able to find 2. If we do not have the graph, no problem. We just take 2 points and use the formula. Okay? We did it in many ways for the red line. Now, let's do it for the dark line. Okay? How do you want to do it? How do you want to find the slope to the dark line? Okay, here's one way. Rise. Run. That's one way. What's the rise? What's the rise? 3. What's the run? Note the rise is 3 up, so it's positive, but the run is going to the left, so that's negative. And what is the run? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5. What's a positive divided by a negative? -3/5. Okay. That's the slope. Note, it's negative. We can tell because when we look towards positive infinity, this is decreasing. Yes, it is. Decreasing. Okay. Now, do you want to find the slope using the formula? Sure, no problem. Which points do you want to use? Do you want to use this one and that one just to make it more interesting? This one and that one. Okay, what is this point? This point is 10/3, comma 1. That's this point right there. You want this point? Sure. And that point, what is it? 5, 0. Okay. And we're going to use the slope y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, okay? And you better label them. Which one do you want to label, the first or the second? Doesn't matter. I'll label this one the first, and this the second. And now let's find the slope using the formula. The y-coordinate of the second, look, that's the second, that's the y-coordinate right there. 0 minus the y-coordinate of the first right there, you see? What's the y-coordinate of the first? That's the first, that's the y-coordinate 1. Then the x coordinate of the second. What's the x coordinate of the second? Second, 5. Minus. What about this one? The x one of the first, 10/3. Okay. I don't know how you guys want to do this, but let me show you the trick. Okay, later on I'll explain it. Okay, because this denominator is 3. Watch, I'm gonna multiply every numerator by 3. Watch this. I'm gonna multiply this top by 3 and this by 3 because of that denominator. Okay? Multiplied by 3. Watch what happens. What is 0 minus 1? What's 0 minus 1? Negative 1. What's negative 1 times 3? Negative 3. Okay. What's 3 times 5? 15. What's 3 times 10? 30. What's 30 divided by 3? 10. What's 15 minus 10? 5. Same as before. The slope to this line is negative because it's decreasing. Beautiful. The slope to this line is negative because it is decreasing. Okay, and it's negative 3/5. Beautiful. Now, okay, now that we have used this formula, we have also went to the graph and we rose and we ran and we got the same results. Okay, now don't forget, when a linear line, sorry, let me say it again, because that's repetitive, redundancy. When a line is decreasing, it has negative slope. When a line is increasing, it has positive slope. Okay, erase this. All right, very good. So now, all that we need to do now is one more thing. Okay? You notice how the red line is in slope-intercept form. This one is in slope. Whoa, what was that? Terrible me, huh? In slope-intercept form. And why? Well, because when you look at it, you see the slope right there, and you see the y-intercept. But if you see this one is not in slope-intercept form. This one is in standard form. Guess what? I can write this one, which is in standard form, in slope-intercept form. Okay. So write 3x plus 5y equals 15 in slope-intercept form. Okay. Listen, in the slope-intercept form, we need to get y by itself. So here, I better solve for y. How am I going to solve for y? Well, first, let me get rid of this 3x. So here's what I have. I'm gonna write this one in slope-intercept form. So first we have 3x plus 5y equals to 15, and I'm gonna solve for y. That's what it means to write it in slope-intercept form. Solve for y. Okay. First step is bring this to the right. So 5y equals to negative 3x plus 15. Divide both sides by 5. Divide this by 5 and I get y. Divide this by 5 and I get negative 3/5 x. Divide this by 5 and I get plus 3. Look. The slope to this dark line is negative 3/5, and the y-intercept is 3. So go to the y-intercept, which is 3, and then you rise and then you run. Now because this negative is outside, you have to make a choice. Either you go this negative, bring it up or down, okay? So go to the y-intercept right there. I'm gonna bring it up. What's a negative 3 divided by 5? What's a negative divided by a positive? Negative. So that's negative 3/5. Okay. So watch this. I'm gonna go to the y-intercept. And I'm gonna rise how many? Rise 3 down. 1, 2, 3. And then run 5 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's another point on the dark line. Okay. There you go. And we wrote it in slope-intercept form. Look. The slope is negative 3/5. The y-intercept is 3. Okay, very good. All right. Almost done. Almost done, okay? Look at the time. Now, give me a second, okay? I'm back. I'm back. Now, there are lines that have no slopes. Okay? Watch this. Let's graph this line. Graph y equals to 5. Show you how to graph this line. Make a table. X and y. When x is 0, y is 5. When x is 1, y is 5. When x is 2, y is 5. When x is negative 1, y is 5. Y is always 5. Let's graph it. Watch this. Y equals to a number is a horizontal line. This one in dark. X is 0, y is 5. X is 0, y is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right there. X is 1, y is 5. X is 1, y is 5 right there. X is 2, y is 5. X is 2, y is 5 right there. X is -1, Y is 5, Y is always 5. So now, graph it with a straight line. Right there. Okay. What is the steepness of this line? 0. This line is neither increasing nor decreasing. Therefore, the steepness is 0. Okay. The slope is 0. Slope is 0. If you don't believe me, do the formula. Okay, you pick 2 points. Do this, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and you're going to realize that the slope is 0. You can do it again right real fast. Watch this. Call this the first. This is the first point. This is the second point. Okay. The y coordinate of the second, right there, y coordinate of the second, 5. Minus the y coordinate of the first, 5. Over x coordinate of the second, 1. Minus s coordinate of the first, 2. This is 0. 5 minus 5 is 0. And 1 minus 2 is -1. And 0 divided by -1 is 0. See? The slope is 0. So when y equals to a number to graph, horizontal line. Horizontal lines have 0 slope. How about this one? Let me do this one in red. Red. X equals to 3. If that's a horizontal line, this x equals to number, this must be a vertical line. If this, look at this, just go to 5, okay, it's a horizontal line, 5 passes to y equals 5, okay? So therefore that must be this one. X equals 3. And y equals 5. If you don't believe me, make a table. X and y. When y is 0, x is 3. When y is 1, x is 3. When y is 2, x is 3. When y is -1, x is 3. And to find the slope to the red one, find the slope to this one. Vertical lines have no slopes. Vertical lines have no slope. The slope does not exist. A slope of 0, that's a slope. A slope that does not exist, you can't find it. Does not exist. If you don't believe me, I'll let you guys do this one, okay? You guys do this formula for 2 points there. But I'll leave it up to you guys, okay? All right, almost done, okay? Now, let's find the equation. Find the equation of a line. Okay. Find. Let me write this. To find the equation of a line, you need 2 points on the, or of the line. Of the line. Okay, so if you guys know RCC, right? If you're sitting in the quad at RCC and someone comes to you and says, hey, Buster, they say to you, can you, or how do you find, or maybe like this, can you find the equation of a line? Okay, let me say it again. So you're sitting down in the quad and someone comes to you and says, hey, Buster, can you find the equation of this line? What are you going to say to that person? You're going to say, okay, I am. Give me 2 points. If the guy says, I don't have any points, well then you say, I'm sorry, I cannot find the equation. Because you need 2 points, okay? Now, if you say to the guy, give me 2 points, and the guy says, sure, here are the points. The points are -3, 2, and 5, 4. There are 2 points, the guy says. Can you find the equation? You say to the person, yes, I can. That's easy. Because the first thing I gotta do is find the slope. Okay? Because you see, y equals mx plus b. You need the slope, and you need to find the y-intercept, and you have it. So you need to find the slope. Okay, no problem. Sometimes they'll give the slope. Great, that's even better. But if they do not give the slope, they just give you 2 points. Okay, no problem. Let's find the slope first. So find the slope. The slope for this, remember, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And you have to label them. Which one do you want to label the first? Let's label this one the first. And this one the second. It doesn't matter, okay? You could have done it the other way. So therefore, y2, right there, 4. Actually, the way I label it, I'm doing this incorrectly, right? Because that's the first. That's wrong. This is y2 right there. y2 minus y1, 4. I don't need this. Over. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus 3. That's minus 3 minus x1, which is 5. Now simplify, and let me see, that's -2 divided by, and what is this? -8. Which is what? Simplify, what's a negative? My negative is positive. 2 goes into itself once, and 2 goes into 8 4 times. The slope is 1/4. This line is increasing. It's not increasing very fast because it's less than 1, look. Hey, we got the slope, okay? So y2, which is right there, minus y1. So 2 minus 4 over -3 minus 5. And there you go. Now that you found this, you found this part. 1/4 x plus b. Okay. Now you have to find b. How do you find b? Okay. To find b, you need a point. Use one of those points, plug it into this one, and you find b. Watch this. Use the easier point. I'll use this one. When x is 5, y is 4. When this x is 5, y is 4. When y is 4, see this y? This is y. Y equals 4. What is x? 5 plus b. I need to find b because I need to place it there. And I'm going to have the entire equation. Okay? So now, this is 4 equals to 5 times 1/4 is 5/4 plus b. Now, to solve this, there's an easy way. Because this is the denominator is 4, multiply everything by 4. Multiply this by 4, multiply this by 4, multiply this by 4, and multiply this by 4. And what do we get? This is 16 equals to, the 4's cancel, we get 5 plus 4b. Almost done. And what is 16 minus 5? 11. 11 equals to 4b. And what is b? b equals to 11 over 4. So now we come here and we say y equals 1/4 x plus 11 over 4. And then you say to the guy who asked for this, here you go, Buster. Here's the equation you were looking for. I found it for you. Buster, be gone. Okay, there it is. Okay. This is one way to find the equation. There's another way, but this is one way. Another way to find the equation, okay, I'm almost done. Another way to find the equation of line, here's another way. Another way to find the equation of a line is you find the slope. What did we say the slope was? What did we say the slope was? 1/4, right? There's another way. You find the slope, okay? I just did that. But you can also use this formula. y2 minus y1 equals m times x2 minus x1. Okay, this is another formula you can use to find the slope. Okay, this is section 2.4 already. Okay. They call this formula the point slope form. This is the point slope form. Okay, watch this. For this formula, you still need to find the slope. I did, right? y2, watch this. I'll do it again for you. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which equals to -2 over -8, which equals to 1/4. So you do that. You need the slope. Sometimes they're going to give the slope. Oh, great. Now, you take this 1/4 and you plug it in there, and you take one of those 2 points, it doesn't matter which one, and you plug it in there. Watch this. I'm going to take the slope 1/4 times y. Okay. And by the way, this should be y, okay? Let's make this just y. And let's make this just x. Okay? Now, this is the variable, and this is it's going to be one of the points that you pick. Which point do you want to pick? Doesn't matter which one, okay? You want to pick this one? Sure. Okay, if you pick this one, then this x1 is going to be -3, and this y1 is going to be, well, I don't like that one. I made it is bad, very bad. Okay. If you put the slope, and this is a y, and this is an x, and all you have to do is plug in -3 for y, so this is minus -3, and you plug in, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. Okay, that's not -3, that's x. What is y? Y is 2, and what is this y1 is 2, look. I'm everywhere now, I think I'm tired already. Y1. Okay. So this is x1, y1. We make this point x1, y1. So this is y2, I'm sorry, y1 is right there, which is 2. And x1 is -3. That's x1 minus 3. That's what I meant to say. Okay. And now you distribute. First you simplify. This is 1/4 times x plus 3. And then you bring this over. Plus 2 equals y. Distribute. So this equals to what? 1/4 x. And what's 1/4 times 3? Plus 3/4 plus 2. You have to combine this one and that one. So to combine, this is over 1. This is over 1. To combine those two, they have to have the same denominator. So multiply this by 4 and this by 4. And so now, and that's y. And so now we get y equals to 1/4 x was 8 plus 3 plus 11 over 4. And there it is. Did we get the same thing from the last one? I think we did. From the last one, the first way we did it was like this: y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, y equals 1/4 x plus b. Now I'm gonna find b. To find b, all you have to do is plug in a value. I'm gonna plug in this point. When x is 4, 1/4, y is 5 plus b. Okay, so this is 4 equals to 5/4 plus b. And what I did earlier was I multiplied this by 4, multiply this by 4, multiply this by 4. And so what do we get? We get a 16 equals to, and what is this? A 5 plus 4b. And so what's 16 minus 5 is 11 equals to 4b. And so that b equals to 11 over 4. You come back and you say y equals to 1/4 x plus 11 over 4. The same as that over there. Okay, good class? All right. So now you can do sections. You can do sections 2.2, 2.3, and 2.4. Okay, good class. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.